Hi Flosstube, this is Stephanie, the Ivy House Crafter, and it is June. I'm sure you already know. That. There we go. My mouth isn't functioning properly because I'm tired. I've had a pretty busy weekend. My piano accompanying skills were definitely used this weekend. Our congregation was celebrating its 65th anniversary. It has been in existence for 65 years. And it was a big 3-day celebration. There was a dance on Friday that we didn't end up going to because I had a really bad migraine that suddenly popped up. Saturday, we had a barbecue / luau. We have a large Tongan population in our area and in our congregation, and so there was an entire roasted pig. And I don't eat meat, so I didn't eat any of the pork, but I'm sure it was delicious because they know how to cook meat. There was fried chicken, there was meatballs, there was lupulu, which is beef and spinach. So those are the things I didn't eat, but there was also salad, there was rice and sweet potatoes and something that they call sapsui, which is their version of chop suey, and I just picked around the meat in that, and it was really good. Lots of desserts, and I enjoyed those. Anyway, and then, let's see, Saturday night was a conference, and I was the organist for that, and so I was busy playing the organ the whole time, and that was adults only, so that wasn't so bad. In the morning, we had the general session of that conference, and I had to bring my kids, and my husband was at work, and my older 2 kids, who I can usually count on to help with the younger 3, were sitting up on the stand because they were part of the youth choir, and I was accompanying the choir, so I was, the 3 of us had to be there, and the younger 3 were kind of left on their own. Thankfully, there was an older couple who was sitting on the same bench as us, which automatically volunteered them for child care duties while I was up playing the music. Even so, it was, we were there an hour early for song practice, and then the conference was 2 hours, and so the younger kids were having to keep themselves entertained and out of trouble for 3 hours, which is not easy when the youngest is a very active 2-year-old, and yeah, we were all done by the time that was over. So that was Sunday morning, and then Sunday evening, we had the last part of the 65th anniversary celebration, and that was a fireside. No actual fire involved, but there was a lot of music, and so I was the organist for that, as well as accompanying our choir and the youth choir. They sang again, and a vocalist in our congregation who has an incredibly just beautiful voice, and it was a privilege to be able to accompany her. So that was my busy weekend, and I have a busy week coming up. Right now I'm kind of in the eye of the storm. There's a day where we don't have anything planned, and it's coming after a busy weekend and right before a whole bunch of stuff going on this week. So I'm just taking today to film my video and relax and mentally prepare for a busy week. I don't like busy. It's a lot for me. But anyway, let's move on to cross stitch, because that is what my channel is about. I feel like I didn't get a whole lot of stitchy time this week. I've been focused on getting my house cleaned up a bit, and this is really big project that will take a very long time. I mentioned in a very previous video, I don't remember what number it was, but it was back when I was titling all my videos in which I show blah blah blah, and that one was called In Which I Admit to Being a Bad Housekeeper. And that hasn't changed. I'm still a bad housekeeper, and so I'm trying to very slowly, teeny tiny baby steps my way into improving the state of my house and my ability to keep it in a good state. So I haven't had as much stitchy time as I would have liked. That being said, I did have several projects that I worked on. I just didn't get a huge amount of progress on them. Let's see, I started with a day on Ye Old Band Sampler, and that is this right here. I have my phone set up in a way that there's no shadow this week, so that's nice. Anyway, this is one that I designed, and it's you can't see me. There we go. It's a companion piece to a different one that I designed called Transylvania Band Sampler. Bit of a mouthful. And I'm stitching them next to each other, but this is the one that I'm currently working on. And I didn't take it out of the Q-snap because I was going to keep working on it, but then I didn't. So I'm trying to remember what in here I worked on. I think I brought this down and finished this flower. And I put this thing in and then started this little bit right here. So here's how that is looking. This is 1/1 on 25 count white Lugana. And the main red color in here is DMC 3777. And then there's right now a couple variegated DMCs in addition to that. And the green one that I'm doing next to it, this is DMC 520 and some other variegated flosses. So there's what I have so far. Just a little bit right in here this week. And I'm keeping this one in this bag from Nisha, the mother of the Sassy Stitchin' Sisters and Brothers. And I just love watching their channel. They are so cute and just really fun to watch. Okay, so that is Ye Old Band Sampler. Next, I spent a couple days working on my oldest whip, and that is a Dimensions kit, Roses on White Chair. There we go. This is what I bought when I very first started getting back into cross stitching. I had got a couple kits for my kids for Christmas and decided that I needed one too. And this is what I got. I put in some really light pink colors in here, to the point where you can't really tell that I made any progress in those, but it's like right there is some of it. Anyway, the way that I'm stitching on this piece, it's often really hard to see progress because I just pick a color and then kind of fill it in until I'm tired of that color and then work on another one. All right, come on around. And yes, I'm now joined by Audrey. I also, in addition to that light pink color, I did a whole lot of work down in here. I brought this down.
That looks good.
Yep. And I filled in a lot of this background down in here. So this is as far down as it goes. They didn't give me a whole lot of margin here, but that's okay. I don't usually work with a large margin. So this is as far down as it goes, and this is as far over to the right as it goes. So I've reached 2 edges. I still have a huge amount of background all in here, plus a lot more filling in to do, and there's the white chair, which, I mean, obviously it's going to be a white chair because the leg is dark charcoal. I don't think there are actually any white stitches in the white chair. But that's okay. Audrey is going to take a moment and show her work from this week. Remember, this
I finished my sushi.
Yeah, this is the just random hodgepodge of. There's no shadow on this stuff, but every time I hold it up, it's a shadow on me. There we go. Okay, so this is her little stitches thing that she's doing, and she finished her roll of sushi. I'm going to bring that up. It included some stitches of her very least favorite color. This is 3033, and the designer of these used it in almost everything. Is this? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but she doesn't like how boring it is. It's this like sort of off-white color.
Yeah, it's.
I guess maybe it's hard to see when she's stitching. Anyway, she does not like 3033, and this designer used it a lot. It's from the, what is it, the Mega Mini Cross Stitch? What's the book called?
Mini Mega.
Mini.
I think.
Anyway.
Mini Mic.
I'm going to grab that.
Mega Mini Cross Stitch.
And what's the name of the designer?
Makutu.
Here, bring it over here. It's not ooh. It's
Makoto.
Makoto Oozu.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oozu.
Anyway, so that is Audrey's progress, and she made that little sushi roll.
I'm gonna go get my.
The next project that I worked on this week was one of my new starts from Stitch Mania. And, you know, actually I'm not going to show the pattern anymore. I'll put in a picture of what it's going to look like. This is a pattern that I received from a giveaway from Michelle Bendy Stitchy, and it didn't come with a cover photo, but I was able to find one on the internet, and this is from the. Shouldn't have put the pattern away so quickly. Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine, March and April of 1991. And it is the fresh vegetable sampler, and I worked some more on the this banner that goes up at the top. So I brought this, I brought this over and down and finished all the way along the bottom. I put in this top corner, and I started the second head of lettuce. So here is my progress on this piece. This is 2/2 DMC colors on 32 count natural linen from MCG Textiles. It is not exactly square. It's kind of like the stitches are squares, but it's shifted. It's like off. So the piece will, before I stretch it, it's going to be kind of slanted. But that's okay. I can stretch it and fix that up. Let's see. I did not do a good job when I put the zipper into this bag. This is just one of my sort of medium-sized bags that I made for myself quite a while ago, and the zipper gets caught when I try to open and close it. Anyway, this piece is Ink Circle's Chalkboard Mandala, and this is one that I won quite a while ago from Top Knot Stitcher, Abby, and I've been saying for a while that I'm going to stitch it twice. The one that I'm stitching is in orange and red colorway, and I was going to stitch it again in a blue colorway and have a fire and ice thing. But I think I've decided I'm not really a stitch something more than once kind of person. I'm sorry, I keep looking off to the side. I'm looking at my picture instead of the camera lens. Anyway, instead I'm going to get another ink circles piece that's the same size and stitch that one in blues and do that. Because I don't think that I'm a stitch something more than once kind of person. Anyway, here is my progress on Chalkboard Mandala, which is obviously not chalkboard style. And like I said earlier, not a lot of stitching time, so not a huge amount of progress. I spent one day on this and got this part right in here. Really loving how this is turning out. I think it's vibrant and fun, and yeah, it's just looking really neat. I'm concerned that I might run out of floss. I bought a pack of variegated J&P coats, I think, floss, and it had two skeins of each colorway, and I'm running really low on this orange and red colorway, and so I might have to buy a whole new pack unless I can find a way to get the orange and yellow separately from the rest. We'll see. The last piece that I worked on this week was While Lilies Flourish. This is designed by me, and it's available in my Etsy shop, linked below. Not a whole lot of progress on this, but I did have two small motif finishes. Let's see, just fold it up. I filmed this part previously, but I had trouble accessing it from my computer. It wasn't processing properly or something, so I'm having to film this particular segment again. But last time, my cat wasn't in the video, and this time, there we go, she is. Okay. Hi, hi. It's like, why are you looking at me? Okay, so what I got done this week is I added this sprig of flowers and the bee scap and bees. Here's a close-up. The bees are not stitched as they are designed. The bodies are supposed to be 3371, the black-brown, and then the wings are supposed to be a light off-white color. But I finished stitching the bee skep in this light yellow, and then went straight on and stitched the bees in that color as well. I wasn't paying attention to the pattern like I should have. And when I realized my problem, instead of going back and unpicking those 14 stitches, which, I mean, that's a lot of work. Who has time for that, really? So instead of picking them out, I just adjusted and outlined the bodies and where the wings were supposed to be in 3371. So that is the two motifs that I finished this week, and here's the whole sampler as it is right now. So that was the last thing that I worked on this week. And the last time I filmed this, I talked about a bunch of other stuff, but it was all just rambling and none of it is really applicable to my cross-stitch channel, so I'm just gonna not bother with that anymore and end it here. I will see you all next week after I get back from my family reunion, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'll talk about that a little bit, probably in my next video. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great week with lots of stitching joy, I'll see you next week. Bye.